welcome this evening. So just give us a little background information about Loreto and the role of the Parents Association.
Well, Loreto College, everybody will be familiar with Loreto College. It's a very prestigious girls' school located just outside of Cavan Town. And Loreto, the Parents Association in Loreto is an active committee of 18 on the committee, and every year we have an AGM. We would liaise with the principal and the school in general. This is the first time we've ever fundraised for the school for a long number of years. But our basic job is to communicate views from parents and issues and liaise with the school.
Very good. So tell us, why did Loreto decide, to have a fundraiser and to have the golf classic and social evening?
Well, normally they have a summer work scheme, and every year the previous principal would have used that money to repair the school, to do some painting and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But that has been discontinued now with the cutbacks. So we decided then as a committee that we would raise some money for the school in order that the repair work and painting and so on could be kept up, and the school would be looking just as well as it is at the minute.
Okay, so the main purpose for the funding is to put back into the school for just general, upkeep basically.
Yes.
Do you have any funding from the Department of Education? Is there anything in place for the upkeep of schools?
Just the capitation grants.
Yeah, and would you find that's just not enough to really cover?
No.
And to,
That really only covers the day-to-day running of the school.
So do you, as Bernie, believe, this is the way forward for our schools? Our funds are not available, and due to the economic downturn and all the cuts, do you think this is, the way forward for schools today and in Ireland?
I'm afraid it's probably a sad fact of life, but I suppose we just have to be positive, and we just have to decide, well, if the children require more, if the school requires more funding and the children require facilities that cannot be accommodated out of the capitation grant, it's up to us as parents to support the school, and if it requires fundraising, that's what we have to do.
Fantastic. Well, I've heard that it was a fantastic event and it was very well supported. And tell us a little bit about the sponsorship and all who contributed in any way to the fundraising.
I suppose we think it was an absolutely marvellous success, a super day from our point of view anyway. With regard to the support we got, it was absolutely phenomenal. We couldn't, even in our wildest dreams starting off, have dreamed that it would have become such a big event. We started off kind of taking small steps, thinking it would be, a good event, but it ended up being a great event. And definitely, everybody put their back to it, a very strong, active committee, huge number of sponsors, and in the words of Miss McGarvey, I suppose, she when she said her few words in the night, she said, somebody who has to ask and somebody has to give. And neither is easy, especially in this economic climate that we have now.
Absolutely. So, would you find it was difficult to get sponsorship, especially in the times we're in? Was that hard to...
Well, we just asked, and if people had the money to give, we found that they gave it, and we certainly understood anyone who couldn't sponsor at that particular time. We certainly understood the times are hard, and that it was fine. There was no problem. But some people were very, very generous in their sponsorship.
People are
really
unbelievably generous, and it's great to see people, supporting local schools.
Yeah, and people do have contacts, going back years where may have daughters or maybe attended themselves.
Past pupils maybe,
the fact that we hadn't fundraised for a long time, people really rose to the challenge, I think.
Yeah, so it was a day enjoyed by everybody. Pupils, past and present, and
we even enjoyed it.
I think we have a few photographs from the day that we're going to have a look at maybe now. You're very privileged in Loreto. I know you have present pupils, the Maguire sisters, and you can see them here on screen. Right. It's Leona and Lisa Maguire.
Leona and Lisa joined us on the day. They played a demonstration match in the evening.
So that would have been an attraction in itself to see these worlds.
Yes, and I think especially the golfers, a lot of golfers came back, to see it. I mean, to have world-class students in the school, phenomenal. And they joined us with their mother, Breda, and they stayed for maybe up to 3 hours.
Yeah.
They were so generous with their time.
Yeah.
And then they met, their friends came in to meet them, and the other girls who had taken part in the golf during the day joined, and it was fabulous, really.
Yeah, you can see on this picture here, so this is some of the pupils of Loretto involved. I see the twins are there
Yes.
with them.
Yeah. A lot of those would have been in the class
Yes.
that Leona and Lisa were in.
Yeah, so these girls really have a bright future ahead, and it's great to see. The school must be very proud of their success, and it's great that they're involved.
And we're
I
very,
suppose
very
with
thankful to them for being so generous with their time on the day. And as I said, it was a great attraction.
Yeah,
Everybody really enjoyed it, and we're very thankful to them.
it's great, and it's great to see. I suppose raising money for such an important cause. As a past pupil of Loretto, I know. I mean, the needs in a school of that size, I suppose, for the upkeep, and I suppose for sports purposes, and lots of to be able to have the resources in place. I mean,
I
it's
suppose
vital.
as a parents' association, we kind of feel that whatever we do for the school, we do for everybody in the school. And sports facilities, every child at some point likes some type of sport or other, and all the other facilities that we would hope to help out with, all of those things would benefit every child in the school, and that's the way we would like it.
So will you make this an annual event, do you think? Is this something that Loretto will
Well,
do?
we have an AGM every year, and at that we decide what we're going to do. We set our sights on something particular for the year, and we fundraised by means of the Golf Classic this year, and we decide at the AGM next year what we're going to do for
what's
next
going
year.
to happen next. And I suppose, Loretto has many past pupils, past and present, the likes of Katrina McKernan and Leona and Lisa Maguire. So a very successful school on the sporting side. I suppose the benefits of sport, both recreational and competitive. What do you feel about that? Do your own children attend the school, or do you think it's important that the children enjoy the sports on a fun side as opposed to just competitive? What do you
Yes,
feel
well,
about that?
definitely. I think sport should play a bigger role in schools even than it does at the present. There's so much talk about obesity in young adults and in teenagers. And I think if you get them involved in a fun way in secondary school, then that will stick with them in their early adulthood.
Absolutely. I suppose it's good for their health and forming
Yes.
friendships
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and so
Team
on.
play and
Absolutely. It's great for their skills and their so I think we actually have some clips of some of the competitors on the day. And they're going to come up now. So we've lots of different pictures going through here. You look like you had an absolutely gorgeous day.
We had a gorgeous day, but we had a couple of huge showers in the
Oh,
morning,
right.
one or two, and
Something
one
golfers are
golfer
already
came in and she
perfect.
said to me, she said when she came in, she said, "Oh, that was lovely out there." But she said at one point, she said, "I didn't know whether I was hitting hailstones or golf balls."
That's a good point. So, and young and old getting involved. It's a great golf club and in Cavan,
And the golf club were so very supportive,
which is
yes.
excellent. See lots of, I recognise lots of faces.
You will, yeah. A lot
Here,
of local faces.
lots of some of the Sleeve Russell golfers.
Yeah, a lot of
stuff.
local and a lot of people who travelled from
Which is
Clones,
great.
Ballyconnell, Belturbet, the surrounding areas, 20, 30, the Headford from Kells, different areas.
Yeah.
It's
It's great to
support
see
was
so many
phenomenal.
people getting involved.
Yes.
I think something like this gets people out, and you see a lot of that recently actually is, the fundraisers, they're using sport to fundraise, and it's getting people out and
And I also
keeping
think
fit
people
and
actually got to
challenging.
do something. They did give us their money, but they actually, hopefully, and we think they did have a very enjoyable day. And I suppose when you are giving your money, it's nice to actually have some fun as a result as
Sure,
well.
yeah, absolutely. So Bernie and Anne, some fine words, on the fundraiser and the future of Loretto and the funds.
We would first of all like to say thank you so much to everybody who contributed, to all the golfers who played, to everybody, to the school, the board of management in the school who were so supportive, because without them we couldn't have done it either. Miss McGarvey, the principal. As I said, the golfers and the sponsors, everybody helped out. There were so many volunteers, and the golf club themselves, and I suppose a special word to the lady captain, Maura Dunn, who was extremely supportive both during the day and that night. I hope we don't leave people out here, Anne, when we start to mention
the
names.
danger.
Right.
You know,
We could just, thank one and all. I know it's very hard to
and
mention
definitely
everyone.
That's what we want to do. You know.
I suppose you're always still looking for sponsorship and always looking for support for our local schools. So we've been joined today by Bernie Dolan, the chairperson of the Loreto Association, and Anne Comey, the treasurer. And I'd like to thank you both very much for coming in and for sharing about your wonderful day and your golf classic and your social event, and hopefully many more to come. And I wish Loreto, as a past pupil, all the success in the future, and hopefully there'll be lots of more success stories just like the Maguire sisters. But thank you very much, and I hope it all goes well in the future.
Thank
you very much, Louise.
So I think we're going to just have an ad break now, so just stay with us and we'll have some ads. Thank you.
We're now coming. Fundraising for Loreto College. Bernie, can you give us some details of how the day went?
Well, we're extraordinarily happy with the day and how the day went, apart from the weather maybe in the morning time. But other than that, it's been a fabulous day, hugely successful from a fundraising point of view, which was our primary objective today, was to raise funds for Loreto to do work that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do, for the benefit of the girls.
Now, there seems to be quite a comprehensive list of sponsors and also of teams this year.
Just to say that we sincerely thank all the sponsors and everybody who entered teams or took part in the golf event. From our point of view, we feel it's been most generously subscribed to by everybody.
Now, the school is very fortunate in that we're two of the most successful golfers.
Well, we've both been pretty busy. We've been all around the world, really. We're starting to get very busy now. In the next coming few weeks, we'll have a lot of tournaments all over Europe and Slovenia and Germany and that. And hopefully we can do our best in them. Competition is always getting stronger and stronger every year, and at the minute we're quite high up in it, and hopefully if we play as well this year as we did last year, we won't be too far away.
And if some of the students from Loreto wish to take part in maybe next year's fundraiser, you would obviously help them as much as you can.
Yeah, it was good to see some of the girls were out playing today and everything. I think there's a lot more girls coming out to play, and Cavan are very good like that. They're getting a lot of juniors. It's great to see, and yeah, we definitely encourage any girls that want to take it up.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes on administration and various other parts of the fundraiser. Could you give us some details of what's involved behind the scenes?
Well, it started many months ago, and I can tell you we had a very hard working committee, but without the support of all the teachers in Loreto, all the staff in Loreto, the secretarial staff and all the parents, this wouldn't have come to be at all. So we're very, very grateful for all the support and all the hard work given voluntary by all the people that were involved.
You have a very comprehensive list of gifts and spot prizes, so the presentation later on. What was the scoring like on a day like today?
We haven't got, they're not fully in yet. There's still teams out playing as we speak, so we don't know any final scores as yet. And we leave all of that up to the golfers, the professional golfers that are in our midst. We're not very professional ourselves at the golf, so we do have near professionals on our committee, so we leave that scoring card to them.
So you would feel that on the first event, as you would say, in the fundraising, it would be hugely successful.
Yes, we would consider this to have been hugely successful. When we started off, we kind of started off on the hopes that it would be successful. But no, we'd consider this to be a huge success, and we're delighted, and as Maura said, we're so grateful to everybody who contributed, because people contributed in various different ways. Like, people contributed money, they put in teams, they also gave gifts, they gave of their time and their services. No matter what way anybody contributed, we're deeply...
Come up on it, is it? So that was Lisa and Leona Maguire talking at the Golf Classic, the Loreto Golf Classic. So now we're going to go to a report by Owen McConnon in Breffni Park, Cavan.
Hello and welcome to Kingspan Breffni Park as Cavan prepare for the Ulster Senior and Minor Football Championship meetings with the Donegal on Sunday next. This is a repeat, of course, of last year's championship opener, also here at Kingspan Breffni Park. There's been a lot written and said about Cavan football in the recent past, but football certainly on a high in the county following the success of the under-21 team. We're packaging together some items, and we're meeting the players and the managers for what should be a very interesting first round Ulster Championship clash on Sunday next at 3:30. I'm joined here now by David Givney, who will be playing probably around the midfield area against Donegal, and it's hard to believe, David, that it's that time of year again.
Yeah, it seems to come around very quick. There wasn't much space in between the league and championship this year, but yeah, looking forward to getting out there next Sunday.
You had an indifferent league, played well at times, didn't play particularly well, but consolidation, I suppose, not bad.
Yeah, we had an indifferent league, yeah, but we had some very good spells, and then again we had some very bad spells. But look, we've been working hard there after the league to rectify that, so hopefully it'll go well now for us next Sunday.
More success at under-21 level, obviously that's a huge injection going into this match against Donegal.
It's massive, and it's great to see, like, 3 Ulster finals in the last 3 years. It just shows the talent that we have in Cavan, and it'll not be too long till hopefully we're fighting for senior Ulster titles.
And I suppose at the beginning of the league you didn't anticipate or possibly didn't think that you might be starting a championship campaign with a new manager.
That's it, yeah, we didn't expect that, but look, these things happen. Terry Val stepped down and Terry stepped in, and things are going well at training. We're a tight-knit group, so it didn't really affect us that much.
Terry and Anthony Ford, they appear to make what seemed to be a very good partnership.
Yeah, they work very well together, and in fairness, Anthony Ford has some great training techniques and has us moving well, and we're setting up a plan for Donegal and we're working on it, so hopefully now it'll go well.
There are many people outside the pale that possibly don't give Cavan much of a chance, but obviously you're not thinking that way.
No, we're not going in with any fear. There's no expectations on Cavan to do anything now, let alone win the game, so we're going to have no expectations. All the pressure's Donegal, so we're going to try catch them in the hop.
They've had an indifferent league campaign as well. Like Cavan, they have a few injury concerns coming into the match, but as you say, there's obviously more pressure on them given that they weren't that far away from an All-Ireland final last year, and they are Ulster champions.
Yeah, some people saying second season syndrome's kicking in and that, but look, we're going to put in our plan in place, going to work hard, and one thing we won't lack is effort on the day.
And there seems to be a huge emphasis on youth within the county, and obviously for you and the rest, that's the way forward.
Well, yeah, look at we had success under 21, so naturally you're going to bring in success, and the lads are used to winning. So look at that's the way they're gone, and maybe it's the way forward.
And looking forward to what will be a very interesting match, and of course what you're hoping will be a very big Cavan support here on Sunday.
That's it, yeah. We urge the supporters to come out and support Cavan, and you'll see that the players are willing to put in 100% and put a bit of pride back in the jersey.
Well, David, we wish you well.
Thanks very much, Owen.
Roland Flanagan is probably now one of the more experienced players on the Cavan team, but I suppose when this time of the year comes around, Roland, it's the same as ever.
That's it. I suppose the word you're looking for is old, Owen. 24 now, and there's a lot of young lads underneath me. Just looking forward to the championship now.
Would it be fair to say that it's the first championship that you're going into in a while where there's no real pressure on Cavan players?
Yeah, there's absolutely no expectations. I suppose when you play Donegal, and especially the form that Donegal were in last year, not many people are giving you a chance, and that's the way it is.
There appears to be a great bond and camaraderie. The whole history of management is now dead in the water. Terry and Anthony Ford are the people involved, but apparently they're getting a great reaction from you guys.
Yeah, well, I never had any really problems, I suppose, with players. Everyone comes to train and trains hard, so it's just a matter of hopefully bringing it onto the pitch.
Is it good to have Terry in the system as manager, given that he's been along with the under-21 team for the last 3 years?
Yeah, Terry's been very successful. Nobody can ask any questions about that. He's won 2 of the last 3 Ulster titles, and it was in the final the first year as well, so he knows what he's at.
As you say, one of the more experienced players, I'll call you, rather than old, but how is it working with young talent?
Yeah, it's just a matter of, I suppose, these lads have been lucky that they've got to play 3 years or 2 years on the 21 level, and they've got to develop. Maybe that wasn't the case in years gone by, and some of us are just thrown in right at the deep end at 18 years of age. So these lads are physically developed, I suppose, and they have played, I suppose, into under 21 football, and they're ready for county football now.
And is the tide, in your belief, beginning to turn now? Because there have had success at under 21 and minor level, the influx of those players beginning to make an impact, and when you put that along with experienced players, that's a good recipe.
It's a good recipe. Hopefully it comes good.
And looking at Donegal, I mean, you know everything that they are to know about. You're going to have to try and counteract this blanket defence again, or maybe not.
Who knows? Blanket defence was last year. This year could be all out attack.
And looking at the championship again, it's going to be very, very difficult to even anticipate who'll progress in it, let alone win it.
Yeah. If you look at the championship in general, you wouldn't know who'd come through, and in any section, whether it be Ulster, Leinster, Connacht, or Munster. But it's an exciting time of year.
And of course, confidence has to be very high in Cavan.
Oh well, the under 21 lads have done wonders for confidence. Hopefully they can help us through it.
Well, Ronan, the very best of luck to you.
Thanks very much.
Pádraig Riley is captain of the Cavan senior team for what is a crucial match against Donegal on Sunday next. It must be a great honour, Pádraig, to lead your team out in an Ulster Senior Football Championship campaign.
Yeah, it's a massive honour. I suppose growing up you always just want to play for Cavan, never mind captain it. But yeah, once Val gave me the call and told me I was captain it, I was delighted. Obviously it's a great honour for myself, family, and even the club. It's never something I thought I'd get, but I'm delighted to be captain of this team.
And of course Terry has compounded the belief that you are captain material, because since the takeover he now has still kept you on as captain.
Yeah, he has. Well, I suppose he didn't take it off me that more so than he handed it to me, but I suppose everything has continued with the status quo since Terry took over.
It was a mixed league campaign for you, but you did stay in Division 3, but the quality and the standard and the atmosphere, that's going to be totally different when it comes to championship.
Yeah, I think mixed has been generous. I think it was a poor league campaign. 2 wins wouldn't have kept us up, I think, in the last 5 years. So we were very lucky to stay up, and but we did show glimpses. The Sligo match here, we showed a good performance against Tipperary away, and for 40 minutes against Offaly, we looked like we had turned the corner. The only 2 defeats coming to the 2 promoted teams, and the wheels seemed to come off then after that. Obviously losing to Offaly was a huge blow at home when we were going so well in that game, and I think then we found it tough to pull it back and to change our direction.
The very good and the not so good, that seemed to be your season in the league, and the days that you played bad, what do you attribute that to?
It's hard to know. I suppose going out of one match and kicking 15 wides and then turning that round the next day and only kicking 3 or 4, it's very hard to put your finger on what causes that. I suppose we had worked very hard in training, and every match we seemed to go out and it seemed to be a new problem that we'd follow out the next week and address, and then a new problem would appear. I suppose there has been a big transition of players, so you're always going to have that little bit of pain when you're trying to blood so many young lads. I suppose the big boost is that we managed to blood all them young players and we didn't get relegated. A lot of teams over the last few years went down a division, went down 2 divisions when they went through a similar process. So we have lots of lads now who have valuable league time under their belts, and are looking forward to a championship.
But it is a transition period, and that still continues, but obviously on the basis of underage success, the future looks very, very promising.
Yeah, when you look at the success at under 21 level, it's hopefully we can bring that through the senior, but looking at the players in training, they're extremely talented players. There's as good a bunch of players as I've seen at any level around the country, and they've all the right aptitudes for county football. They're very committed, they're dedicated, and most of all talented. If they stick with that, it'll serve them well in the future.
Given the talent that is there, and given the commitment that's there, and given the will to win that's there, there's obviously a big game in this Cavan team, and you're hoping that could be Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. There's not too many players in this team that have won a championship game at home. There's very few things can match that in life, never mind in football. So we're hoping that that bit of drive that comes with championship football, hopefully that will carry us, help us put in a performance against Donegal first and foremost, and then we'll see how that takes us.
As captain, will you have a ritual now on Sunday morning?
No, I'll not do anything any different than I do any other match day. I have a few bits and pieces to do, with the dressing room and that, but other than that, I'll be focusing on my own game, whatever that may be.
Well, you lead by example, Pádraig. We wish you well, and a victory for Cavan would give this county some boost.
Absolutely, yeah. Even a performance, I think after the league, a performance against Donegal, that's all people want to see. They want to see 15 and 5 subs putting everything into it for the jersey and playing with a bit of pride. So that's what we're aiming for against Donegal.
Well, we wish you well, Pádraig.
Thank you.
Terry Hyland is a new Cavan team manager, and I suppose, Terry, at the start of the year when you were preparing an under-21 team and assisting Val Anders, you probably didn't expect to be manager come championship time.
No, it wasn't one of the things now. As I said to somebody else, I didn't leave the house looking for the job and I ended up in it. But, I didn't really expect that. I thought that the year would run its course naturally and that Val would be still here come championship time. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way.
Now, you were the ultimate choice, so you're settled into the job now. It's a very short period of time to prepare a panel for what it will be probably your biggest game of the year.
Yeah, well, in fairness, the preparation end of it, I suppose, the panel had been preparing all year and had been working hard and training hard, and despite maybe not getting maybe some of the victories in the National League that we would have expected to get, they still had been working hard and working towards summer.
Looking at this Donegal challenge, it's a very, very big one, but the pressure would appear to be all on Donegal.
Well, I suppose they are coming in as favourites, also champions, and it does throw that little bit of pressure back in them. That's the one thing about the championship, and also they are all pressure games, and in fairness, I say it's probably one of the toughest provinces to play championship football in. So from that point of view, every game's a pressure game in it.
Now, you've had a lot of players to look at. You've brought under 21 players in. You've had a panel of players. Will it be a problem picking what you would perceive to be your best 15 to face Donegal on Sunday?
Well, it probably will be, because we have a lot of talented young players to pick from, and it probably will be a case of doing the matchups and seeing who we can play best against the opposition. And Donegal are a big physical side, so we will have to look carefully at the matchups, and then the team will pick itself from that.
You'll be looking at last year, you'll be looking at the way Donegal have played. The likelihood is they may, or in fact may not, play the same formation as they did before.
Well, that is true. I suppose in fairness, they have been a little bit more open in the National League than they had in the Championship last year. I can see Donegal probably still trying to keep it tight. They're probably going to maybe bring a new dimension to the game, as in they're going to have to maybe up the way they open up for attack, and that may open avenues for us.
Looking at the way preparations are going, are you very happy that all the T's have been crossed and the I's dotted at this stage?
Well, you mean, no matter how things go, you always say things can go better. Look, in fairness, the lads are working very hard, they're training very hard. There's been a very big effort put in, you know what I mean? But the only downside I see at this time of the year is the exams, and the way lads, the young fellas are tied up with exams, and students have to exams this week and exams on next week, and then suddenly have to go and play a first round of the championship.
Taking Anthony Ford on board for this championship campaign, obviously you hadn't to give that too much thought.
No, in fairness, I've worked with Anthony before. Anthony has great respect within football in Cavan. He's been involved with Cavan a long time as a player. He's been involved in Cavan Gales as part of the management, involved with me as under 21s as well before. So, and the players all know him, and he's a very driven kind of a chap to have around the place.
I know Terry Hyland doesn't do pressure, but you've had huge success at under 21 level. So, is this going to be transported almost immediately? Because Cavan people will probably expect that.
Well, they may do, and I suppose that's where we have to sometimes dampen their expectations. They have to consider that this is a very, very young Cavan squad. I'd say the average age of this squad is probably 23, so that is a very, very young. I doubt there's ever been a younger Cavan squad assembled for a championship before. And you know, sometimes if people put pressure on them externally, it brings that pressure on the field, and I would ask people to not put that pressure on them.
I suppose irrespective of the result, although you do want to win on Sunday, but if you can say, and the players can stand up and say that the 15 that started, and if you use 5 subs, left everything on the pitch, you'll be happy.
Well, that's it. I mean, all I ask, if anything involved, is honesty, and honesty of effort. And when you go out and you play with all the ability that you have, and you apply yourself as best you can, the result then, if it comes your way, is great. But if it doesn't, you can say, well, I walked off that pitch and says, well, I gave that everything I could.
You're one of the few Cavan managers at any level that has had success, so there's a Midas touch. Are you going to tell us what it is?
It's getting good players to play under you.
Right, well Terry, look, we wish you well, and let's hope that there's success for Cavan.
Thank you.
That's Cavan team manager Terry Hyland bringing to an end this special report from Kingspan Breffni Park as Cavan prepare for the Ulster Senior and Minor Championship clashes with Donegal on Sunday next. Throw in here is at 3:30, and we wish them well.
Thank you very much to Owen McConnon reporting there from Breffni Park. So that brings to an end All About Sport for this week from Top of the Town Studios in Conley Street, Cavan. So Owen will be back next Wednesday evening at the same time to bring you more sport on CavanTV.com. So don't forget, from tomorrow there will be deferred coverage of All About Sport on Smith's Cablevision in Cavan Town and also on CavanTV.com. So thanks to all our contributors on the programme this evening. The show was produced by Brian Daly and Michael Goldricht, and the show was directed by David Van Standen. And if you want your sport featured on the programme, send an email to drumlinmedia@gmail.com. So stay with Cavan TV, as up next is our weekly show, music show, The Green Room, presented by Paul Cox.